The eggs have hatched, the fry are swimming freely, and now something strange is about to happen. Something that exists in no other species in the fish world. The mother and father move side by side. The fry swim toward one of them, then press against the parent's body. And there, they feed, directly from the parent's skin. This isn't a disease, it isn't a parasite. It's a system that is structurally identical to the milk produced by mammals. The only difference, this is a fish, the discus. The species the aquarium world calls the king, the most demanding to care for, the most deeply bonded. Today we're going to talk about why this fish resembles a mammal, exactly what it's telling you through its color language, and whether it sees you as one of its own. But first, you need to know where this fish comes from, because everything starts there. When people think of the Amazon, they picture a fast, powerful river. The discus doesn't live there. Backwaters, floodplains, slow seasonal channels that spread across the forest floor. In the dry season, schools of fish hover around massive roots and fallen tree trunks. When the rains come, the water rises, spills into the forest, and the discus scatter. Food becomes abundant. Threats stay hidden. There are 3 species, S. discus, S. equifasciatus, and S. tarzu. Each lives in a different type of habitat. Some survive in water where the pH drops as low as 4, dark, oxygen-depleted conditions that would kill most fish within hours. The vivid, striking colors you see in aquariums are human-made. Wild discus are far more understated. Dark bands, a body that dissolves into shadow. Built to be invisible, evolved to disappear from a predator's eye. Human hands changed the colors, but they couldn't touch those extraordinary parenting instincts. We'll get there. First, though, you need to see what's actually happening inside this fish's body. The discus gets its name from its shape, a disc. Flat, round, almost geometric. That form isn't accidental. It's a body optimized for gliding through the root labyrinths of the Amazon. Tight spaces, minimal resistance, a seamless passage through strong currents. But the real wonder is beneath the skin. The discus can change its body color in real time. This isn't camouflage, this is communication. Pigment cells beneath the skin expand and contract based on social status, environmental conditions, and emotional state. A dominant discus brightens, one under stress darkens, and those characteristic vertical bars sharpen into focus. One preparing to spawn brings its center stripe forward. This fish is essentially texting you and its schoolmates through color alone. No words, no sound, just color. There's no dialogue in any conventional sense, but every member of the group reads that signal instantly. When one fish is stressed, the whole school knows. A single signal puts everyone on alert. That's how survival works in the dangerous waters of the Amazon. But in the breeding season, that intelligence transforms into something very different and far more astonishing. In the wild, discus live within a hierarchy. Dominant individuals lead the school. Their colors are vivid. The space is theirs. Every advantage belongs to them. Subordinates fade, hang back, and wait at the edges of the order. This hierarchy isn't established through fighting. It's built through body language, size display, color intensity, and who has the right of way. The strange part is that the school doesn't always stay together. Something changes when breeding season arrives. A pair separates from the group. They swim together. They clean surfaces together. They take turns standing guard together. From the outside, it looks as if an entirely new center has formed inside the tank. 2 fish that seem to have built their own private world. Then the eggs come, and from that moment on, nothing is the same. They are now true parents. And what begins next is something that puzzled scientists for decades. The eggs have hatched. The fry are swimming freely. And those tiny fish swim toward the mother or the father, press against the parent's body, and feed, directly from the skin. A team from the University of Plymouth studied this process in depth. At first, they genuinely struggled to make sense of it. What they found was remarkable. The skin mucus of the discus is structurally similar to mammalian milk. Not just nutrients, it also carries immune factors, growth promoters, and a composition that changes as the fry develop. Just like a mother's milk adapts to her infant's needs, and the father does the same thing. Both parents take turns offering their bodies to the fry. This is the only known example of this behavior in the fish world. During the parenting period, a hormone rises in the skin. The composition of the mucus changes profoundly. Protein levels shift, immune factors shift. This fish's skin reprograms itself according to the developmental stage of its young. This isn't instinct alone. This is physiological transformation. The brain and the skin restructure themselves just for the offspring. So what does this look like in the aquarium, far from any natural habitat? The discus comes from the floodplains. And that past shows up in every choice it makes inside a tank. In bare, open tanks, the discus is under stress. No shelter, no shade, no safe corner. Colors darken, activity drops, interest in food fades. In tanks with dense planting, driftwood, and ceramic tubes, they open up. Colors brighten, movement increases. Group dynamics sort themselves out naturally. That big piece of driftwood or decorative root you put in the tank isn't just decoration. We mentioned earlier that wild discus spend the dry season hovering in schools around root systems. That decoration replicates exactly that moment. For the fish, it isn't aesthetic. It's the physical equivalent of the message, this place is safe. During the breeding period, that meaning goes even deeper. A bonded pair will meticulously clean the surface where they plan to lay their eggs. Glass, a broadleaf, a smooth stone, it doesn't matter. Once that surface is chosen, it becomes sacred territory. Anything that approaches is processed as a threat. Other fish in the tank, even you. Which brings us to the final and most important question. So how does your discus see you? Here's the sign to watch for. If your discus approaches you with colors bright and vivid, no stress bars showing, and it comes up to the glass and matches your pace as you move, that's trust, delivered silently. This fish measured you, assessed you, and decided you're not a threat. But there's an even more telling sign. If a pair has formed, the breeding season has arrived, and when you approach the tank, they swim toward you instead of toward the egg site. That's the moment that pair has removed you entirely from their threat list. The most anxious parents in the Amazon will charge anything they perceive as a danger. They don't weigh the size. They don't consider familiarity. If they're not coming at you, it's because they trust you, because they see you as one of their own. Next time that round body drifts slowly through the tank, look closely at what the color is actually saying. Is it bright? Is it dark? Are the stress bars showing, or is the pattern relaxed and open? Because what you're looking at isn't just a beautiful fish. There's a social memory in there, tracking every individual in the group in real time. There are emotional creatures that nurse their young the way mammals do, and there's a parenting drive so powerful it rewires their entire physiology to make it happen. What's your discus like? Are the colors vivid? Does it come toward you when it sees you, or does it still keep its distance? If you've ever had a breeding pair, drop it in the comments. I read every one. If you want to know which fish I'm covering next, hit like and subscribe. See you under the water.